Hey guys, how you doing? Today we're going to be reviewing Venom Let There Be Carnage. Now, I was not the biggest fan of the first Venom film that came out back in 2018. I thought Tom Hardy was great in the role, and the dynamic between Venom and Eddie Brock was the best part of that film. Now, the villain was pretty average, pretty generic, but ultimately it was entertaining enough, and the fact that the post-credit scene was of Carnage made me just that tad more excited, because I know Carnage from video games, and he's been one of Venom's main antagonists in the comic, as well as Peter Parker. So I've heard of Venom and not massively exposed to his stuff because I'm not a comic reader as much as I'd like to be. But yeah, I've played with him in a few video games and stuff like that. So I was hyped for this film. The trailers looked good, didn't look amazing, nothing like special, but the trailers got me excited. You can go back and watch my trailer reactions if you missed it. But yeah, what did I think of this film? It is, the word I hate to use for this is disappointing, and I do believe this film was quite disappointing. Now, the trailers made it look like it was going to be a bit of a better made and more sufficient film, and consistently good and less artificial and just jokey. And the first film played with the Venom character quite a bit. They did what they did in the MCU with Thor, where they tried taking him in a more likable route with Thor Ragnarok. Now, Venom, although he has comic runs where he's like this, they chose to do a much more comedic type film with the first Venom film, in the way that Venom is portrayed on screen with Eddie Brock. Now, it was more of in this film, expanded on, which if you are a fan of that first Venom film, I think you'll love this film, because it's expanded upon, amplified a bit, and just a bit more in your face. And for those that love that, like I love the chemistry between Venom and Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock. I think that it works. But if that's all the film has, it can be disappointing, and that's what it had for me, in my opinion. One of the biggest letdowns of this film for me was Woody Harrelson as Carnage. Now, Carnage, the look of him, perfect. Some of the first stuff you see of him when he escapes the facility, great, but it's all in the trailers and there's nothing else beyond that. Now, let's just talk about the runtime of this film quickly. This film is about an hour and a half long, if I remember correctly, maybe at like 5 minutes more than that. This film could have been 2 hours and should have been. We always go, these comic book films, they could have chopped this down. It's just a bit too long. Why does it have to be so long? It's very rarely that you say, how is this so short? The film was paced so quickly, too quickly in my opinion, that the fact that it was short as well made it just feel so, where did the film go? How's that going to end? Because the plot rushes so quickly to scene that I was getting flashbacks from Rise of Skywalker. Now, Rise of Skywalker, if you remember that film, the first 10-20 minutes was just scene to scene to scene to scene, because they were trying to fix all the problems of The Last Jedi while set up their own film. So I'm not saying that's reasonable and that's fine for that film, because it's bad in Rise of Skywalker, but there was reasoning behind why they had to do that. And J.J. Abrams made that choice because he really wanted to fix the problems of the last film. This film didn't have that. This film chose to be this quickly paced. And I don't know why Sony have just said, they must have said, we want this to be 1 hour and a half long. I don't know why they've done that, but this film needed to be beefed up a bit. There seemed a lack of plot. And that sounds weird, but I don't know how to describe it. It's just so rushed. It opens up setting up Carnage and Shriek's relationship, but then that gets chucked away, because then we're now in present day, and then now it's Eddie Brock trying to be like the best reporter again. But then I don't get that, because I never got that vibe from him in the first film. In the first film, I saw a guy that really, he was just sort of doing his thing. He didn't really care that much. And I think that's partly Tom Hardy's performance. As much as I love his performance as Eddie Brock, he just, when he's doing his reporting job, he just looks like he's trying to get it over with and done with. And then now it's like, oh, now you're finally back on top. It's like, but I didn't get that vibe from you that you wanted to even be a good reporter. I would have thought you wanted to just be a motorcycle stunt guy or something like. He doesn't give me a reporter vibe. He didn't in the first one, and he especially doesn't in this one. Now, in the first one, he has a relationship with it's Rachel Adams or something like that. I know, if you know Dawson's Creek, it's the character in there. Sorry, I forgot her name. She was fine in the first one. She becomes Lady Venom, which was quite cool. I don't actually know if it's Lady. I don't know if it's Lady Venom, but she gets the symbiote in the first one, and you're like, oh, cool. Is that going to be expanded upon in the second one? Because she was sort of pushed out of that first film and was just there as the cliche love interest, and then you finally see her as Lady Venom at the end, and you're like, wow, can we get more of this in the second one? No, she's just the same damsel in distress used at the end by Carnage. It's just disappointing, cliched things, and it's just so messy, and the plot is all over the place, where it just feels like, who wrote this? Did we think about this? Because you get to that final fight, which comes so quickly. The film just is trying to get there so quickly, and you've just got Carnage and Woody Harrelson really like not getting along. When correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure the whole point of Carnage and why his symbiote is so powerful is because his symbioticness with the Carnage symbiote, Woody Harrelson's character, is supposed to be like the best symbiotic relationship between all of them. That's why it's so powerful. And here it's the complete opposite. They're just not getting along whatsoever, and Shriek's just chucked in here because that's what they needed as the catalyst to kill Carnage, and for that to be his weakness. So it's just like everyone other than Venom and Eddie Brock just seem like they're just MacGuffin characters to service a point of the plot. Shriek's there to be the final blow for Carnage, and it's just like it's so cheap. And then you've got Eddie Brock's love interest just there to be like the stakes and what forces them to fight Carnage, and just the way Woody Harrelson dies at the end, it's just sad to watch because you barely get a good action scene with him, and it's just very disappointing. It's weird saying, because I'm gonna rate this. You're gonna be surprised by the way I'm talking about this film, what I'm gonna rate it, but it is entertaining. I was entertained, but when I was watching it, I did fully realize everything I'm on about right now, the mistakes. But Venom and Eddie's relationship and their chemistry, it's so weird how good it is, because that sort of saves the experience for me. And I can call this a decent film. I'm stuck between, I'll tell you now, I'm stuck between a 5 and a 6 out of 10. Because I'm pretty sure I'd rate the first Venom like a 5. And I probably would find, if I was forced to watch the two, I'd probably choose Let There Be Carnage, because there's a bit more going on. It's a bit more like a light-hearted, fun experience, whereas the first Venom for me is just a bit depressing, where I don't know. I really don't know. This is one of the most confusing films to rate. But yeah, as you can tell, it has its ups. I will say that. It does have its ups. I think Tom Hardy, once again, smashes it out of the park. We will talk about that end credit scene, because that's by far the best thing to come out of the first Venom film and this film. That end credit scene excites me. But yeah, I will talk about the post credit scene after I rate this film. I'm going to rate Venom Let There Be Carnage. I'm going to rate this a 6 out of 10. Because the reason is, I enjoyed watching it. I did. I was entertained. But it's like Rise of Skywalker, where you walk out of Rise of Skywalker, at least I did, so clouded by my love for Star Wars. It's that same feeling, but it's different. I was so entertained by Venom and the bits with Eddie and Venom, but I still, whereas with Rise of Skywalker, I didn't notice all of the awful storytelling, and just when you go home and you think about Rise of Skywalker, the cracks start to show. Whereas the cracks were showing throughout the film. But every time Venom and Eddie Brock were on screen, it was just entertaining. And by the way, this is Andy Serkis's debut directing role, which is not good. And I like Andy Serkis, and some of the ways he was directing this was great. But what he was given, the actual writing for this film and the plot, it could have been done so much better. It's such a shame. So yeah, I'd say this is a 6 out of 10. Now let's talk about the plot. Not the plot, the post-credit scene. So, Spider-Man No Way Home introduces the multiverse properly. It's been hinted at in Loki. It's basically been confirmed in Loki. And we know we're getting Multiverse of Madness. And now we've got that Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. And we've even got that Morbius trailer where everything is going into multiversal territory now. And Venom Let There Be Carnage's post-credit scene shows the glitch of these universes colliding, which we saw. It was actually weirdly quite similar, with a bit more realism, which is weird to say, but a bit more realism than Into the Spider-Verse. The way there was glitches with the cities. He was in this his hotel room with Venom, and they were talking, and the glitch happens. The multiverse happens, basically. And you see Tom Holland's Spider-Man on the TV. What a cool moment. And it was just great to see Venom go up there and start licking the screen and saying, I forget what he says, but it implies that the next time we see Venom, he will be on screen rivaling Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Now, just to see that on screen must be so satisfying for the Spidey fans, because I'm a good Spider-Man fan, I am. But I was not that big of a fan of Tobey Maguire, and I think the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film I enjoy the most is Spider-Man 3. I'm waiting for the hate comments, that's fine. But because I wasn't from that time period and I don't have the nostalgia for those films, I feel like people get clouded by their love for those films from the time. Those films aren't made all that great. They really aren't. They don't hold up. They're very cringy, cheesy, just weird stuff that makes no sense. The dialogue the acting is just, it's just not good. It's not good. It is not good. So yeah, even the side characters, even the side performances are just disgraceful. And a lot of fans love that, but it's just not for me. So yeah, I think Spider-Man 3 was my favourite, and a lot of fans hated the relationship between Venom and Spider-Man in that first Spider-Man film. So yeah, I thought that was just, I didn't mind it, but I know that fans will love seeing this post-credit scene. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below on that post-credit scene if you like that. I will obviously rate this 6 out of 10. I just think it could have been so much better. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.